Upbeat, inspiring intro music fades into the background. Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the life of a man whose name is synonymous with greatness in the world of sports. A name that echoes through cricket stadiums even today. We're talking about the one and only Sir Donald Bradman, arguably the greatest cricketer to have ever walked the planet. Born in a small town in New South Wales, Australia, on August 27, 1908, Donald George Bradman, or the Don as he would come to be known, was destined for sporting immortality. But his journey didn't start in a fancy academy. It began in his backyard with a simple yet ingenious training method. As a boy, he would endlessly hit a golf ball with a cricket stump against the curved base of a water tank. This relentless practice sharpened his reflexes and developed the almost supernatural hand-eye coordination that would later baffle the world's best bowlers. This wasn't just a kid playing a game. This was a genius honing his craft. By the age of 19, his prodigious talent was undeniable. In 1927, he made his first-class debut for New South Wales, and the cricket world began to take notice. It was clear that a special talent had arrived. Just a year later, in 1928, Bradman earned his coveted baggy green cap, making his Test debut for Australia against their arch-rivals, England. Now you might think he burst onto the scene with a century, but his first match was surprisingly modest. He scored just 18 and 1. Some critics even questioned his unorthodox technique. But the Don was not one to be deterred. He was dropped for the second Test, but when he returned for the third, he announced his arrival in style, scoring 79 and 112. It was the first of many centuries to come, and a sign of the dominance that was about to be unleashed. The true Bradman era began in the 1930 Ashes series in England. What he did on that tour was simply mind-boggling. Over 5 tests, he amassed a staggering 974 runs. Let that sink in. 974 runs in a single series. This record, set over 90 years ago, still stands tall today. During that series, he scored a triple century, 334 at Leeds, and 2 other double hundreds. The English bowlers were clueless, the crowds were mesmerized, and a 21-year-old Australian had become a global superstar. He wasn't just playing cricket. He was rewriting the rulebook of batting. Let's talk about the numbers, because with Bradman, the numbers tell a story of unparalleled genius. He played 52 Test matches for Australia. In those matches, he scored 6,996 runs. But the most famous statistic in all of sport is his batting average, 99.94. To put that into perspective, most world-class batsmen who are considered legends of the game have averages in the 50s or low 60s. Bradman was nearly twice as good as the best of the rest. His consistency was simply inhuman. He scored 29 Test centuries in just 80 innings, meaning he scored 100 roughly every third time he went out to bat. But Bradman was more than just a run-scoring machine. He was a leader. He captained the Australian team with great intelligence and a fierce will to win. He led the side through the challenging period following World War II, helping to rebuild not just the team, but the spirit of Australian cricket. Under his captaincy, Australia became a formidable force, a team that was incredibly difficult to beat. He demanded high standards from himself and his teammates, fostering a culture of excellence and resilience. Perhaps the crowning achievement of his captaincy, and indeed his career, came in 1948. He led the Australian team on a tour of England. This team, filled with legendary names, went through the entire tour 34 matches, including 5 tests, without losing a single game. They were forever immortalized as the Invincibles. It was a perfect farewell tour for their captain, a testament to his leadership and the incredible talent of that Australian side. It remains one of the greatest feats in the history of any sport. And then came his final Test match at the Oval in London. The stage was set for a fairy tale ending. The entire cricket world knew that Bradman needed just 4 runs in his final innings to retire with a perfect Test. Batting average of 100. The crowd rose to its feet as he walked to the crease. The English players gave him 3 cheers. It was a moment steeped in history. But cricket, as we know, can be a cruel game. The English bowler, Eric Hollies, bowled a googly. Bradman, perhaps with tears in his eyes from the emotional reception, was bowled for a duck. 0 runs. He fell just short of that magical 3-figure average, finishing on 99.94. But in a strange way, that imperfection made him even more mythical. It was a human end to a superhuman career. It reminds us that even the greatest are mortal, yet his record remains a symbol of unattainable perfection. The very next year, in 1949, he was knighted for his services to cricket, becoming Sir Donald Bradman. He was the first and only Australian cricketer to receive a knighthood for his contributions to the game, a clear indication of his monumental impact not just on the sport, but on the nation's culture and identity. Even after he put down his bat, his influence never waned. He became an astute administrator, a selector, and a powerful voice in Australian cricket for decades. He was a guardian of the game's traditions and a source of inspiration for countless players who followed. Legends like Sachin Tendulkar have spoken about how studying Bradman's technique and mindset helped shape their own careers. His legacy is not just in the record books. It's woven into the very fabric of cricket. He set a standard of excellence, discipline, and sportsmanship that continues to inspire. Sir Donald Bradman once said, "When you play for your country, you play for millions who dream through you." He didn't just play for Australia. He carried the hopes and dreams of a nation on his shoulders, and he did so with grace and unparalleled skill. He showed the world that with dedication and passion, you can achieve a level of greatness that transcends time. So the next time you hear a debate about the greatest athlete of all time, remember the boy from the outback who used a cricket stump and a golf ball to become a legend. Remember the man whose average of 99.94 stands as a permanent monument to sporting perfection. Remember Sir Donald Bradman. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of a true icon, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss our deep dives into the greatest stories in sports.